Ulster come out on top in a scrappy affair. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. Not a classic by any stretch of the imaginations at Ravenhill. I don't think too many people are going to be watching this game again, but Ulster start off. They've got plenty of ball and territory, but errors and good defence from Edinburgh see their early attacks breaking down. The likes of Richie getting over the ball and Mata as well involved there. Edinburgh then have the first real chance of the game. Barnstorming run from Schumann gets deep into the Ulster half. Then they go wide, a good carry from Richie. They're close to the line. They go left, but there's a loose pass, Ulster momentum. They still manage to get it out to Van der Merwe, who tries to kick it through, but kicks it dead. But then they don't have to wait long for another chance. Tamaga Allen knocks on round about halfway. Edinburgh get it out to Mark Bennett, and he puts Darcy Graham over to score, but finally converts that one 7-0 Edinburgh. Edinburgh then weather a mini storm from Ulster. Richie and Mata again to the fore, helping them lift the siege. They then go to the corner from a penalty that they won themselves. They set up the maul and move it inside. Ulster pressure and defence, though, is good, and Edinburgh are pinged for offbeat. Glenn Young, the guilty party. Ulster clear from the penalty, but Edinburgh clearly on top at this point. Ulster then win a penalty as Edinburgh collapse them all after a good take from Vermeulen. Ulster decide to go up the line. They go through the phases, but Richie turns the ball over and Sam Skinner kicks it downfield. By this stage, Ulster, they've lost Hume and Lowry to a failed HIA. There were a lot of injuries in this game on both sides. By the end, Ulster then win a scrum penalty, kick that to the corner. Edinburgh then lose Dave Cherry. More early injuries happening. Again, Ulster's move breaks down as Edinburgh force a knock-on. Ulster looking a little bit ponderous in attack at times, and at one point Cooney, he gets swarmed because he's basically the ball's there at his feet at the ruck, and he's looking around to see where his forwards are, and suddenly Edinburgh come through. Ulster do manage though to hold on to the ball, and they finally get some fluidity and get themselves a try. They attack off a line out. Gilroy goes through a gap, gets it out to Stockdale. He gives it to Balakoon, who then does really well to get it back inside to Stockdale. As Balakoon was being tackled into touch, Stockdale then goes over to score. And it was kind of good to see Stockdale getting himself a try, because his form really has improved the last few games, and it felt like that try was coming. Conversions missed, then we're at 7-5. Ulster then lose Herring to an HIA. Tom Stewart comes on for him. We have a scrappy period of the game then with mistakes from both teams, plenty of scrum resets. We had a lot of kind of scrappy periods in the game, but referee wasn't too happy with the amount of resets he had to do. Edinburgh then get pinged for being off their feet. Ulster have a penalty 10 metres on the 10 metre line, and it's just on the right side, kind of close to the touchline, maybe about 7 or 8 metres in from there. Cooney calls for the tee and then splits the post to put Ulster in front 8-7. Ulster then win a scrum penalty with the clock in the red. Cooney slots the penalty from pretty much the same position as the previous one. Halftime score is 11-7, Ulster lead. Into the second half then, Cooney managed to intercept a Blair Kinghorn pass, and he runs that in to score from halfway, converts his own try, 18-7, some daylight between the teams. Ulster then go through some phases. They work it back to the Edinburgh line. They forced a penalty, kicked that to the corner. Edinburgh then forced the maul backwards, and then Ulster get pinged for accidental offside. Edinburgh win a penalty from the scrum. WP Nell, he had to come on. He really gave them like the nudge in the scrum since coming onto the field. Edinburgh then have a rare visit to the Ulster 22. Some good fight from Hamish Watson, and Shields with a great kick deep into the 22. Just after that, then Van der Merwe and Graham combined to get into some space, but Darcy Graham's pass is over Bennett's head, and a couple of phases later, then Ulster win a penalty at the breakdown. Ulster go upfield. They then win another penalty for lifting in the maul. Go to the corner. Edinburgh defend the maul pretty well, but Ulster managed to spread it in field. Edinburgh give away a couple of penalties, and then Young gets a yellow card for the persistent infringements. Ulster decide to tap it. They recycle a few times, and then Timoney goes over under the post from close in. Is converted for 25-7. Edinburgh then managed to turn Ulster over in the middle of the field. Stuart McNally, he breaks and he's heading to the corner to score. It's his last game for Edinburgh, but then Treadwell runs him down. And then he managed to offload, but Van der Merwe knocks it on as he tried to collect the offload. Just a word on McNally as well. I believe he's actually finishing up to become a professional pilot. He's going to go train to be a pilot, so good luck to him. But last game for Edinburgh, but he's still going to hope to go to the World Cup with Scotland. Edinburgh then think they've scored. Jamie Ritchie kind of juggles with the ball, then slaps it back down to someone who goes over to score. But the referee says that he basically knocked it on, first of all, in the tackle, and then had to, by the rules, he'd have to regather the ball first and then pass it off rather than doing the slap that he did. So it's no try. Ritchie is arguing that he was tackled early, and that's why he ended up having to juggle with the ball in the first place, but referee isn't listening to him. I think Ritchie might have had a point there, though. Edinburgh then do finally get over. They get themselves into position. Some really good carries from the likes of Venter, gets them very close, and WP Nell is able to get over. That's converted for 25-14. Into the final few minutes then, Ulster win a penalty in front of the post. Cooney decides to take the points. He splits the posts, pretty much makes the game safe there. It's 28-14, and that was our final score. Okay, let's have a quick look at the stats. So tries, 3 for Ulster, 2 for Edinburgh. I think that if Ulster needed the bonus point win, obviously that Cooney penalty right at the end would have gone to the corner, and they would have tried to get it. But in terms of general play, I don't think either team really deserved a bonus point try. Possession then, 54 for Ulster, 46 for Edinburgh. Clean breaks, 5 for Ulster, 4 for Edinburgh. Edinburgh's obviously included the one from McAnally as well, where he almost scored a try. It would have been actually great to see him sign off with a try, but I was cheering for Ulster, but still would have liked to see him getting over. Defenders beaten then, 11 for Ulster, 24 for Edinburgh. A lot of kind of half breaks for them, and then one amazing run from Van der Merwe where like Marshall was tackling him, and Van der Merwe first of all kind of fends with the arm, and then from there kind of pushes him back, but the two of them go back maybe 5 or 10 meters, and then Van der Merwe does come down on top of him kind of awkwardly, but it was nothing really in it, but just made a hell of a lot of meters after contact there. Offloads then 5 for Ulster, 10 for Edinburgh. Into the defensive stats then, territory 46% for Ulster, 54 for Edinburgh. But a lot of the possession, like in terms of territory, was around like between the two 22s. There wasn't that much getting into the opposition 22 from either team. Certainly not sustained periods there. Number of tackles then 127 for Ulster, 175 for Edinburgh. Missed tackles 24 for Ulster, 11 for Edinburgh. Tackle success then 84% each. That's a little bit low for the URC. Generally, you're looking at 86, 87 being kind of the pass mark for defence. Turnovers 1, then 7 for Ulster, 9 for Edinburgh. We had the likes of Richie and Mata and Hamish Watson getting in there as well, winning those turnovers for Edinburgh that kind of were stifling that Ulster attack, especially early on in the game. Kicking then, 5 for Ulster, 2 for Edinburgh. It was interesting to hear John Cooney talking after the game about how he's been practicing with the ball from the ground rather than on the tee, and he feels that actually makes it easier then when he uses the tee. It feels a lot easier than kicking from the ground. And also he talked about the miss that he had with the conversion in the first half, that he finds it, it's important how you respond to that. And he said, he got all the rest of his kicks. And he said he hasn't missed more than one kick in a game this season. So really good mental strength from him there, I think. Penalties conceded then, 4 for Ulster and 12 for Edinburgh, and hence that yellow card for Young because of the persistent infringements. Now, in terms of both teams then, Edinburgh, they made a contest of it in their last game of the season. Obviously didn't want to go out with a defeat. They've had a pretty poor second half to the season, but at least they did show a bit of fight, and maybe they go into the off season now. Like a lot of the players, going to go into the Scotland camp for the World Cup warm-ups, etc. But for next season, I think they're going to want to hit the ground running and then keep that momentum up through the season and not fall away the way they did this year. Ulster got the win they needed to secure second place and a possible semi-final, but that depends on obviously winning the quarter-final. So if they win the quarter-final, they'll have a home semi-final. But I think the injuries that they had this evening will be concerning. They'll want to see as many of those players coming back, for the quarterfinals. But we'll have to see. They've got a few weeks until those games to get a few people right. But yeah, as I said, wasn't a classic game. If you're going to watch anything of it, just watch the quick highlights. Normally I don't recommend watching those because they're terrible. But for this game, if you do want to watch anything of the game, yeah, just watch those, don't watch the full game.